Oliver Tree was one of the strangest success stories in modern music. To some people, he's a creative stuntman. To other people, he's the guy with the giant bowl cut and the tiny sunglasses. To most casual listeners, he's the voice behind some of the 2020's biggest alternative hits, like Alien Boy, Hurt, Life Goes On, and Miss You. And some people sadly may only know Oliver Tree for tragically passing away in a helicopter crash on June 14th, 2026. But the deeper you look into Oliver Tree, the more fascinating the story becomes, and the harder it becomes to separate the real person from the character that he created.
Kids, if you're watching this, don't do acid. Unless you want to end up like me, a badass dude with a badass haircut.
No, if you never heard of Oliver Tree before, that is probably the best way to describe him. A badass dude with a badass haircut. For example, Oliver was so committed to being the scooter stuntman that shocked the internet with every move he made that he literally built the world's largest rideable kick scooter, got it certified by the Guinness Book of World Records, and then rode on it. But Oliver was known for a lot more than just his iconic haircut or his insane stunts. I mean, the guy was doing shows with Skrillex before he graduated high school. He went from dubstep DJ to at one point a hip hop artist to a punk rock artist, an indie pop artist. He did it all. So the question is, where did it start?
Oh, I saw your review.
It's not my fucking question.
7 you gave me. You
Suck my dick, you fuck face.
You, Anthony, fart face.
Now the thing with Oliver is he always put entertainment at the forefront. And that's why some of the stories he tells and the things he says, you almost never know if it's true or if it's just part of his world. And sadly, that would even follow Oliver to some of the final moments and statements of his life. But Oliver's life started off on June 29th, 1993 in Santa Cruz, California. Going back to not really knowing what's true or what's false, Oliver had once claimed that his parents met on an onion field, and that's why he loves onions so much.
It's a big part of my, upbringing. My parents, they actually met working on the onion field. I usually don't talk about my personal life, so I don't really like to get into any of this but
Okay.
But don't let Oliver's persona fool you. Just because you didn't know within Oliver's world what was real and what was fiction, there was a creator with genuine intent behind it all. What I find fascinating is that growing up, Oliver's biggest inspiration on the music end was actually the Gorillaz. And growing up as a kid myself around Oliver's age, I remember hearing the Gorillaz music, but in their visuals, it was just a bunch of cartoon characters. It's almost like you didn't know who the actual humans were behind the music. And Oliver was almost like an evolution of that. Except the production, the songwriting, the actual vocal performances, it wasn't multiple people. It was just him.
Who influenced your art?
For the music side of it, I was really inspired by the Gorillaz because they were doing fusion in genres that didn't belong together. So they would have Damon Albarn, the singer, singing on a song, and then Del the Funky Homo Sapien would rap on it. And that was two totally different worlds, and they found a way to merge them together. And I grew up as a kid in middle school, elementary school, listening to that, and I was like, oh, this could be one person. So I was the next generation that came after that. And so I learned, oh, I could just be both these people. And I could also be producing the song, making music. So for me, even though I'm not, I don't present myself serious, I would say I'm probably more serious than 99% of the artists because I write every lyric, I write every melody, I produce the music, I bleed out for this shit. I don't have a personal life. I write every music video, I direct every music video, I produce it. Not to go on this list of stuff, but it's I don't have a life. All I do is art. I could be way more successful if I got a normal haircut, if I sold sex and tried to look good, but instead I'm that shit is so fucking played out. I'll let everybody else do that. I want to do something different because it's just boring.
According to Oliver, his journey into music started when he was only 3 years old, when he began taking piano lessons. He also claims he started writing songs by the age of 4 years old and even wrote his first album at just 9. Is this true? We don't know. Because remember, he also said his family grew up on an onion farm. Well, in separate interviews, Oliver has claimed that his parents were actually acrobats traveling the world in different circuses, and he would follow along in their footsteps, performing in circuses as a unicyclist, which is what trained him to be able to integrate all these crazy stunts into his tours and his music videos. We'll look at that later down the video, but is this come-up story even true? Well, I'll let some more veteran YouTubers explain, because it seems like they've done the math on the timeline.
Oliver Tree is my birth name. Both my parents were trapeze artists. I grew up in the circus, so I was traveling.
According to Oliver, he spent multiple years traveling with his parents in the Pickle family circus. Both of his parents were acrobats, and he apparently was a unicycler.
I'd like to think that prepared me for life on the road as a touring artist.
You see what I mean about never actually knowing if the guy is serious? I'm gonna have to chalk this part of his come up story as fiction.
What we do know is factual is that Oliver Tree was definitely headfirst into creating music by the time he was in middle school. He attended a school I'm definitely going to butcher the name of, Brancafort Middle School, and that's where he sang and played guitar in a rock band called Irony. Oliver kept dabbling deeper into music once he made it to high school, and he said there was one big instance that not only changed his life and made him realize he wanted to go headfirst into music, but also almost ended his life. Oliver claims that in around 2010, he took a family vacation to the Burning Man festival. And during his time at that festival, he claims he took 16 tabs of LSD and nearly died. He said this was the experience that caused him to escape his drug addiction and fully commit to music.
Under the sun.
We had some wild days. There's a darker side to it that's pretty plagued in drug use.
Straight up addict. Like, my parents kicked me out of the house. I was literally using a different drug every day, selling hard drugs to survive, just living on my friends' couches.
A common theme in a lot of Oliver Tree's interviews is that he says he was addicted to drugs from the age of 15, which sounds as though it could be a lie. You know, 15 years old is quite young to get addicted to drugs and kicked out your family's house. And you wouldn't be dumb to think that perhaps he was just trying to make an emotional backstory for one of his characters. And on top of being addicted to drugs from 15, he claims in a rather insane story.
And this is the story of when I ate way too much acid on a family vacation to Burning Man when I was 17 years old.
Outside of the parameter of Burning Man now. Now I'm out in the desert. I'm hitting my head on the desert floor, trying to open up my head to pull my brain out of my head. Hallucinating these things that I flip over, my body's covered in blood, like cuts on my dick.
All the while he says this story on Impulsive, Logan Paul thinks he's trolling him because Logan Paul has a similar story.
This happened to you too? Hey, you and I might not be so different, my man.
Bro, you're telling my fucking story.
Was it true? In one of the earlier interviews I could find from November 7th, 2013, so this is before Oliver Tree was the Oliver Tree persona. He was going under an artist name called Tree. The different retellings of this story align up quite accurately. But because I'm a fucking nerd, I dug as deep as I could to find the earliest interview with Oliver Tree, ones that had been deleted, and I think I found it in 2012 from the Wayback Machine, where he also says about this Burning Man story. The same exact account all the way back in 2012, before he'd come up with these personas and characters. About the family side, I went on his dad's Facebook. I'm kind of a little bit ashamed about that. But his dad has posted a video from Burning Man.
Now shout out to the creator Jimmy the Giant for the deep dive on that. But it was around this time after this alleged acid trip that Oliver would shift his focus from rock music to dubstep. He would link up with another dubstep DJ in California by the name of DJ Getter, and they would start releasing some pretty intense music together as far back as June of 2010. So this venture into dubstep as DJ Krife, this was Oliver Tree's first real music endeavor. And with DJ Getter being one of his collaborators who also knew Skrillex, this granted Oliver the opportunity to open for a couple of Skrillex shows back in Skrillex's prime in like 2011.
Like, my first rock band I joined in was called Irony, and it was in middle school. Then I was in a rap group called Mindfuck, and then after that, then I was a dubstep DJ called Krife.
Now notice how Oliver mentioned before he was a dubstep DJ, he was actually a rapper. In high school, he joined a couple of his friends to create the hip-hop group Mindef, and he wasn't terrible.
I run circles round your ass like a racetrack. You take that, but to me it don't matter. See, my mouth runs till it's dry like a battery. I keep my mindset level, keep it in the gear for the fear of the pedal.
Now, throughout his time as a rapper, this is when Oliver started dabbling into production. He was making the beats that his rap group was rapping over. And while Oliver picked up all these different musical hobbies and talents, he also began partaking in an activity that would define the rest of his persona: scootering. Oliver was actually really talented at scootering, and after partaking in a couple major competitions, at 18 years old, he signed with the Santa Monica Junior Syndicate team, really becoming a professional scooterer, if that's how you say it.
So I used to compete professionally.
And scooter races?
No, it's scooter freestyle, so tricks. So I did every action sport in the book. I grew up motorcycling, BMXing, downhill racing, but In middle school, I really started focusing in on scootering. In 2009, when I was 16, I signed with the junior syndicate team, so I got on a scooter team, and I was competing nationally around the country.
Cap.
But I gotta shout out the creator Jimmy the Great again because, like a large chunk of Oliver's story, this part might be a myth.
So he has a Facebook post that claims that he started scooting in 2001. In the Facebook post, it has him with a scooter. His face is clearly Photoshopped on that. However, when you go on Google and look around for Oliver Tree as a professional, there is literally zero evidence to support it. You can't find anything. And it's weird because considering the fact that from 2007, they were filming loads of videos of them scooting and BMXing, etc. You're telling me that when he went pro, he decided to just film none of it.
When I signed with the junior syndicate team, I was sleeping on my friend's sofa. 1 week later, I'm in a fucking penthouse apartment. I have a hot tub on my roof. 1 week before that, keep in mind, I was eating top ramen noodles for a month straight. Flash forward, 1 week later, I'm eating fucking caviar with a mini fork.
Pro scootering in the 2000s would have probably made you the same money as working at Tesco's. So him claiming he was in a penthouse suite eating caviar, it's just hard to believe.
Cap.
But then there's this video in 2018 called Oliver Tree Scooter Pro,
Knock it off! I'm telling Dad next time!
where we see him doing some pretty legit scooting. You know, he's hitting stair sets, etc. But to me, if we look really closely at this, it's very possible he used a stunt double. The hair is slightly lighter color. He's also not sweating like Oliver Tree was in the clips prior. He often crops the face out of the shot so you can't really see the face. And when you can see the face, it kind of doesn't really look like Oliver. I'm pretty sure this guy on the right is the scooter double. I wasn't able to work out who it is, but he looks exactly like the guy who's doing the scooter. And another key video to me is the roof drop video, because that one, again, people really believe that Oliver did that. But there's no clean shot of him rolling in and rolling out. It's cut at 2 points where easily you could have put a stunt double in. But then we have the claim that he does scoot in his live shows. You can't argue with that because it's clear that it's him.
Oh, I always do scooter stunts. That's a signature thing.
See, that if you fucking rode your scooter off a DJ booth and then picked up your guitar.
I found this clip of him doing a 360 on stage, and that is genuinely him. For sure it's him. But then we have this clip. And it's just interesting, if we pause the video, we can see the scooter rider is wearing a completely different pair of shoes to Oliver Tree. Oliver Tree is wearing these red flip-flops, and the scooter rider is wearing like a greeny, grey kind of shoe.
And whether this is true or not is actually a key detail in the Oliver Tree story, because not only does he incorporate a lot of scooter stunts within his music videos and his live performances, but Oliver claims that around the time that he was not only opening for Skrillex as a dubstep DJ, creating hip-hop music with his high school friends, and being a professional scooter person, he actually faced another intense injury that nearly took his life. Yes, it wasn't just the, tripping on 16 LSD pills at Burning Man at the age of 17. The scootering had also got Oliver allegedly into a whirlwind of trouble.
During a semifinal for a skating tournament, he was speeding down a 25-foot ramp at 35 to 40 miles per hour until he hit a small pedal. He flew about 12 to 13 feet and landed with his hands out, breaking both wrists, injuring his thumb joint, and suffering a concussion. His right hand was nearly unusable, but his left still worked.
Now, it was this scooter incident that left Oliver with a lot of spare time on his hands, and this is when he started taking music to that next level. He even wrote a song about this scooter incident, if it's even really a true event. Again, we don't fully know.
So not a lot of people know this, but the song Hurt is actually about a scooter crash I had when I was 18.
In 2009, when I was 16, I signed with the junior syndicate team. So I was 18 years old. So this is the end. This was the last competition I ever did.
It was February 26, 2015.
Of course, there was the crash in 2016 where I was in a semi-pro freestyle contest.
It was a semi-final run in the pro contest.
I'm rolling down this 30-foot roll-in.
20-foot rolling.
40-foot roll-in.
45-foot rolling.
52 metric meter high rolling. About 35 miles an hour on 48 miles an hour on a Razor scooter.
And out of nowhere, this little fucking pebble shows up.
Fucking pebble shows up.
Fucking pebble shows up. I hit this, I go flying.
142 metric meters. About 22 metric meters. I put my hands out to break the fall. Break my right wrist, I break my left wrist. Break the joint that connects my thumb to my hand.
However, those details change depending on the weather. So obviously, I already have some doubts. These numbers don't really add up. But in the H3H3 podcast, they show a tweet that he made where it shows his injury. The tweet and the photo is now deleted, but I found it on his mum's Facebook. Again, I'm sorry. I felt weird about it. In this, his mum says that his cast came off in 2015. In the R. Willie video, he claims the crash happened
2016, where I broke my left wrist.
But now they have proof. They show an article from a newspaper. However, the article is fake. Here is the real article, and in this article, it was a woman. Oliver Tree changed the she to he.
Spicy. I would believe that he probably had obviously some kind of injury, thus the photos of him in hospital, etc. And it's very likely and possible it could have been to do with extreme sports. It could have been to do with scooter. But he's taken some elements of truth and then added a lot of bullshit to it.
Nobody ever knows when you're serious.
That fucking
last question.
He's trolling us. I think he's trolling. Are you trolling?
I wish I knew if you were telling the truth or not.
Again, shout out to the creator Jimmy the Giant for debunking a lot of these theories. I'm going to leave a link to his video in the description of this video. But one thing that was true with Oliver was his love and his talent in music. And it didn't start off with the crazy stunts and personas. A lot of his earlier work was a lot more stripped back. He left the dubstep scene and transitioned into more softer alternative music, even changing his artist name to the name Tree, which was his real middle name. And in 2014, he released his debut album, Splitting Branches. At the time of releasing this project, Oliver Tree was also in school studying music technology at the California Institute of the Arts. But the quality of that project actually caught the interest of a record label called R&S Records. The label wanted Oliver to take more of a pop direction and really constrained his sound and his image, which led Oliver to actually take a bit of a hiatus from music, understand the business a bit better, and position himself in a way where he had full creative control. And this is actually where the birth of his signature look derived from. Remember his old collaborator DJ Getter, the DJ who led Oliver to actually open up for Skrillex? Well, in 2015, they shot a music video for their collaboration called Weeknd. Oliver was allegedly dressed in his signature look with the colorful ski jacket, the glasses, the crazy haircut, but the label thought it was too eccentric of a look for the sound that he was going for. But if you notice in the music video, he still got that signature haircut. Now, if you guys remember 2015, you definitely know about Vine. And DJ Getter, Oliver's collaborator, he was posting a lot on the platform. And it was during this time where Oliver's character Turbo had been born. He shot one of those classic 6-second Vines with Oliver, with the haircut, the glasses, and everything. And from there, the persona was cemented.
What's up? My name's Turbo. I'm 32 years old. I love to dance, and I sell ecstasy to children at raves. Hit me up.
This video was posted to Vine in 2015, right when Vine's popularity was at its all-time high. At this point, he was living with famous influencers Tanner Patula and Nick Coletti. Coletti was a comedian and actor with high potential, and Patula was an up-and-coming DJ. They helped Oliver continue uploading skits as Turbo, and he was gaining popularity with every video. Eventually, he even collaborated with Barstool Sports and Fuck Jerry, two very successful comedy companies. With his famous bowl cut, a ski jacket he stole from his mom, some Jenko jeans, and a pair of red sunglasses, he created the iconic look.
Through his time living with these content creators who were also musicians and going viral himself, establishing this character on the internet as Turbo, Oliver would begin to understand how to blend music and content creation in a way where the virality he found online through his memes actually funneled his audience into listening to his music. Oliver would catch his first big breakout moment in 2016, right around the time when Vine was shutting down, with his viral song, When I'm Down. And from here, Oliver had struck gold. He fully embraced the comedic aspects of his personality, and they basically defined his story. From the wacky bowl cut and mullet haircut, the colorful oversized clothes, the scooter stunts in every music video, Oliver was a walking meme, but the music never took a back seat. With his come up being so scattered in different genres, it made sense that by the time Oliver actually released his major label EP, it was genre bending. He had caught the attention of Atlantic Records and dropped his first EP on the label, Alien Boy, in 2018. But this was just the beginning of a wild ride, a scooter ride at that. Like I said, Oliver blurred the line between content creator and musician, and the numbers definitely back that up. you can see his YouTube videos were racking in millions of views, and they were as wacky as possible. Competing with the #1 scooter rider in the world, losing 15 pounds on the world's easiest diet of high fructose sugar-filled food, hitting the rooftop death gap, taking a bath in hot Cheetos, shooting $1 million music video when he was still an up-and-coming artist. By the way, Oliver back in high school had a dream of shooting a music video with a monster truck, and he really ended up doing that. And to say that Oliver understood virality was an understatement. Shout out to the creator Matt Miranda, he did a video breaking this down pretty well, but if you want to see how Oliver leveraged his internet stardom to finesse the record labels into giving him those $1 million budgets for his music videos so he can incorporate all these crazy stunts into his art, take a look at the social media strategy he used to one-up himself after getting a monster truck in his previous music video and somehow making his next music video even crazier.
In the time preparing for his album, he would have one of the most expensive music videos of all time with his song, Hurt. Now, the reason he was able to get this big of a budget is because his previous music video, which contained a monster truck, a horse with a bowl cut, and pocket rockets, had done very well. So this time he decided that he needed to go to Ukraine, do some more stunts of his own, and get a tank. Now, the music video would mention multiple times that Oliver would have to reach 1 million views in the first week to warrant the amount of money he was spending on this video. So I think he had some sort of deal with the label where he would be allowed to release the album if he got 1 million views in the first week, and that's why he went all out to the degree that he did. With that being said, it absolutely passed 1 million first week and would get many more views than that.
But even with all this virality and a lot of these songs actually gaining some momentum, as the years progressed, Oliver started facing some struggles. He was ready to release his debut album with Atlantic Records in March of 2020, but if you guys were paying attention back then, I'm sure you know there was a bigger event that probably took a halt to a lot of those plans. COVID-19, what a wonderful time. Naturally, you'd think, alright, since Oliver was supposed to release his project at the peak of the pandemic, if he maintained his buzz, surely he could get a release date in the next couple of months once the virus cooled down, right? We'll take a look at what he posted on Instagram when he announced the delay to his fans. My debut album, Ugly is Beautiful, is officially cancelled due to COVID-19. It breaks my heart to say this, but with the state of the world shutting down, I'm unable to release this album at any time in the foreseeable future. To be clear, I still hope to release the album at some point in the next 5 to 10 years. However, the infrastructure has crumbled and it's impossible for this album to release to be what I envisioned. I hope you guys understand. All remaining final shows are cancelled and refunds have been issued. For now, we are forced to shut down this project. I'm officially going into retirement. Thank you for being a part of this epic journey. The era of my life was by far the most challenging, but also the most rewarding. I'm not good at goodbyes, but please know that I love you all. So it was looking like Oliver maybe would have really been retired, or maybe this was all just another part of the persona. But one thing again that was true was just like when he was a college student frustrated at the first label that had signed him, Oliver cited his differences with Atlantic Records at this point in time being a big reason why, at the cusp of truly making it as a musician, Oliver had now decided to retire.
The radio vampires come out and leech on you. They want one more thing. The label's never satisfied. They want one more.
He claims that they didn't allow him to release his album until he reached 1 million followers. And once he did, they upped the requirements to 2 million. They also took songs from his album and released them as singles, which Oliver compared to ripping chapters out of a book and selling them separately. It was at this point that Oliver was kidnapped. The story was played out through his Instagram account, where you can see Oliver tied up to a chair as a masked man yells at him. Oliver claimed that the man was forcing him to reach 1 million followers before releasing his album. This was obviously all staged. The kidnapping seems to be a metaphor for the control his record label had over him and was likely just a stunt to reach his 1 million follower milestone quicker.
So as you can see, this was another genius play by Oliver to rally up his online audience and funnel their interest into the actual music. By making the internet think that his label would only release his album by the time he had 1 million followers on Instagram, he was accomplishing many different key things. Number one, he was painting himself as the hero and the label as the evil controlling powers that be that are suppressing his music. Number two, he was hiding the fact that maybe it just wasn't the right time from a success standpoint to go all out and actually release a debut album by shifting the blame onto label politics. Number 3, most importantly, he was killing two birds with one stone. By leveraging his comedic personality and his creative skits online, Oliver was now simultaneously exponentially growing his social media following, while also driving way more eyeballs and anticipation into what his next move in music would be. He made it an interactive challenge for the fans. They had to follow him in order to unlock his album. And with that, Oliver would finally release his debut project in July of 2020, a far cry from the 5 to 10 years that he said it would take to actually release the project. It was called Ugly is Beautiful, and in the next year, 2021, he released the deluxe edition called Shorter, Thicker, and Uglier, which spawned his biggest hit at the time, Life Goes On, which peaked at number 71 of the Billboard Hot 100 chart.
That song sucks. The original lyrics was Life Goes Onion, and then basically there's this other song called Life Goes Onion, so the label made me change the lyrics.
Are you serious?
I'm dead.
Are you an Onion fan?
I love Onion. It's a big part of my, upbringing. My parents, they actually met working on the onion field.
Amidst all the public personas and the world he built where the line between truth and imagination was blurred, one thing most definitely was factual. Oliver had a very complicated and slightly disadvantageous contract with his record label set up. Because his music videos were so over the top, they required a massive budget. Money that Oliver didn't necessarily have himself. That's why he always felt constrained to staying with a major label, because they were willing to put up the investment behind his crazy ideas. But with that came a massive hit to Oliver's own earnings. He actually claims he only makes $80,000 from the dozens of millions of dollars that his music generates.
Basically, I'm put into this crazy contract where 5 albums, which is, the first album took me 4 years to put that in perspective. Wow. The other ones I've been moving faster.
So it's like a 20-year contract.
Probably like 10.
And but you think eventually it won't be like that where people aren't
Well, I think they're already shifting it. And I waited on the publishing side. When you sell music, it breaks into 50-50. Half is the masters, half is the writing, which is the publishing. So I held out on the publishing. I was like, I'm not going to be doing this because I want to have something that I own still. And then at a certain point, after 3 years, you need someone to go and start doing like admin work where they're collecting. So now my admin deal that I did with my publishing side of things, and obviously I built it up crazy, but like I got the new wave of deals on the publishing side. So that's like, oh, we only take 10%, you get 90%, and then basically we'll give you like a crazy amount of money as an upfront advance, but like it's a great loan. Compared to on the record side, they make $1, I make 14 cents of it. Instead of we make $1 and I make 90 cents on the writing, it's the exact opposite, where it's like approximately like 12 to 14% depending on the splits on the song. That's how much I'll make on $1. So I gotta kind of, it's like, it breaks into 100 points, which is 1 penny is a point.
So you're the most underpaid person in the work field.
I made tens of millions of dollars, and this year they started taking better care of me, so I'm grateful. But, it still is what it is, and I did the math, and after the first, 5 years, it averaged out like 80,000 a year of like after taxes would be like how much I made. Huh? It's not bad, but when you make like $20 million, and you make 80 grand out of that a year.
I know how that feels.
20 million. How did it, like, just all the...
Well, they basically are just like, you never recouped. That's the whole model, is like, you have to really like dig in and see. But the idea is they give you money up front. But if they give me 100 grand, I basically have to pay them back $1 million, because every time I make $1, I'm not making the dollar. I'm only making the 10 cents on it. So it's like the model is just set up for you to, whatever money they give you, it's just the worst loan you could really ever have. I mean, people can kind of do it without them. They become archaic. And I still need them because I make music videos and my videos cost millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And so I need the support of the label to be able to make this kind of stuff. Technically, there is a point where I could get investors or hopefully make enough money that I could self-fund. But for someone like me who makes heavy music video content and like filmmaking, that shit is so expensive. Like I show you the video that came out yesterday and you're like, I could make this for 20, but like, I don't know if you have the awareness that there's like 30 people there and you have trucks and all this stuff.
But it wasn't all bad. Oliver points to the fact that, even though the major labels, there might be more constraints on the release dates, on the money side of things, but it actually allows him to have full creative control where it counts, which is the execution of his music.
I think the biggest misconception I had about major labels before signing with them was that I wouldn't have the full creative control. And I actually found that I have more creative control and freedom than I did on an independent label.
Now on this debut album, there'd be a song called Jerk. It had a heavy rock influence and a very memorable hook, and it would actually lead to years later becoming Oliver's biggest hit. But it's not in the way that you might think. See, with TikTok, songs are prone to blowing up years, even decades after their release, but it wasn't the case with this Oliver song. His biggest and my favorite song of his, Miss You, blew up in 2023. But with that came some major controversy surrounding it.
The song Miss You by Oliver Tree and Robin Schulz is the subject of a major scandal because it was allegedly stolen from a small artist named Southstar who went viral for his song Miss You. There is no debate that the two versions sound exactly the same, but the reason why they stole it is pretty shady. I even presented a very possible conspiracy theory at the end of this video. Oliver Tree has a brand of being very positive, funny, and uplifting, so his fans were shocked to hear that he would do this to an upcoming artist, especially since Oliver was a victim of getting his art stolen just a few months earlier. Kid Leroy's music video for 1,000 Miles copied a number of different shots from various Oliver Tree music videos. Oliver takes pride in the fact that he directs and creative controls his visuals. He made a TikTok about the situation.
Kid Leroy's new music video copies multiple shots from my videos. As an underground indie artist who writes and directs their own music videos, I am so sick of big artists ripping me off. Now, I know it's not Kid Leroy's fault, so I looked into the director, and it turns out this dude follows me on Instagram. Coincidence? I think not.
He also said in a tweet, "They steal that many shots and thought I wouldn't notice?" A lot of his fans thought this was satire, especially since he was identifying as a small indie artist, which isn't true since he's signed to Atlantic. But in an interview with Rolling Stone, he seemed to be a little bit serious when he said, "It just seemed a little bit odd that even the framing is exactly the same. It's a lot easier to just build off the things that already exist and flipping it than doing something new." Obviously, we can't know the tone of the text, but he didn't really seem to be joking there. But you should consider that a huge part of Oliver's brand is rooted in comedy and meme culture. The beauty of Oliver Tree is that 50% of people know he's joking and the other 50% don't, and I absolutely love it. Ultimately, he went on the H3 podcast to talk about the Kid Leroy controversy, and it became apparent that he was leaning into this to get views, and he most likely planned this with Ethan since they have been friends for many years. But this wasn't the first time Oliver leaned into the whole stolen song controversy for promotion. While rolling out his song Cowboys Don't Cry, he made a TikTok claiming that Lil Nas X and Columbia Records sent him a cease and desist, that he was copying Old Town Road when his song sounded absolutely nothing like it. He even made a fake TMZ interview. This one is pretty obviously a joke, but still captivated a lot of people.
Reach out to you. Lil Nas X, he's been jacking my he stole some melodies from my song a couple years ago. Lil Nas X, you know where to find me, bro. You can give me writing credit on that song if you want to, and you'll be hearing from my lawyer, Jeremiah Jeff.
Oliver is a master of manipulation. He knows that selling records is almost entirely based on social media attention, and he is a great storyteller. He knows people are infatuated with controversy and being exposed to the dark side of the music industry. His 2020 album rollout began by him saying that the label wouldn't let him release it until he hit 1 million followers on Instagram. He reached it with ease. Then he said he needed to hit 2 million.
I have no interest doing another album. This is the last album I'm putting out as Oliver Tree. This is the last time I want to have to go through this cycle of doing all this promotional bullshit. They want one more thing. The label's never satisfied. They want one more. When you get 1 million followers, it's, oh, you need to have 2 million followers. That's literally what they told me.
Ugly is Beautiful, which was released in 2020, was supposed to be the final album, and he would quit music to pursue a film career. He claims that he spends 90% of his time promoting and not actually making music, and although he seems upset about it, we know promoting his music allows him to practice his love for storytelling and videography. Plus, it wasn't his last album. He just built up the story to rebrand, kill his old image, and build a new image for his next album, Cowboy Tears. But the controversy around Miss You, which is on its way to becoming platinum, isn't a big marketing campaign. This time, it's serious. I can't play a lot of the songs for copyright reasons, but even a short clip will allow you to hear the similarities. In May of 2020, Southstar was just another upcoming producer/DJ from Berlin that nobody knew. He remixed and reworked an old Oliver Tree song called Jerk into an uplifting dance track. At first, he did not get permission to remix the song, just like the millions of other remixes out there. so he posted it and basically nobody heard it. But after popular German rapper Young Hearn posted a clip of it on his Instagram story, it started gaining traction. Once TikTok got a hold of it, the song exploded. B1 Records, imprint of Sony, reached out to Southstar and said they loved the song and they could get the publishing rights cleared so that he can legally keep the song up. He signed with them, took down the original, got the song cleared with all 3 songwriters of the original song Jerk, in which those writers were David Pramick, Marshmello, and Oliver Tree. Southstar re-uploaded the cleared version on July 30th. 6 days later, Oliver Tree and Robin Schultz, who is a world-famous German DJ/producer, co-released their version of Miss You, which was the same name, same melody, same tempo, same pitched-up vocals, and even the same length, 3 minutes and 26 seconds. This led everyone to believe that at some point Robin Schultz heard the song, made a one-to-one copy of it, and leveraged his status and previous working relationship with Oliver to step on Southstar and get the official remix. To make things even crazier, on October 12th, Southstar posted the sped-up version of Miss You, and 5 days after that, Oliver posted his sped-up version. Oliver fans rushed to his defense and say, okay, he didn't steal anything, it was Robin Schultz, which is most likely true. However, Oliver did have to clear Southstar's version, so he did hear it. Plus, suggesting that Oliver never heard a viral remix of one of his older songs, then coincidentally worked with a world-famous producer to remix track 11 on his 2-year-old album and made the exact same sound, is cap. Oliver was well aware of Southstar's version, and he knew what was going on. He made a business decision: work with a world-famous DJ who has tens of millions of monthly listeners, rather than give an opportunity to a hardworking kid hungry for a shot in the music industry. It's just insane that they straight up copy-pasted the whole song and didn't give Southstar any type of credit or financial compensation. Plus, Atlantic Records didn't even deny that they stole it. When Southstar released a statement saying it was disappointing for me to see an exact copy of my rework Miss You is up under the name of another famous producer, Atlantic responded with, Oliver Tree and Robin Schultz's version of Miss You is the definitive version of the song that uses both the recording and underlying composition from Oliver Tree's original track Jerk. Southstar remixed Jerk without permission and released a version with re-recorded vocals to avoid fully compensating Oliver Tree and his label. This is cap. Southstar most likely re-recorded the vocals for quality purposes, but he did get permission to release the song, and in exchange, he gave up 100% of the publishing. Yes, 100% to the 3 songwriters, which means that the songwriters, which includes Oliver Tree, are making almost the same amount of money on both versions of the song. Southstar's at 90 million streams and Oliver's at 200 million streams, plus the 2 sped up versions. But most importantly, Atlantic's statement did not address the fact that they made a one-to-one copy of Southstar's version. They stole the song. However, it was Oliver's song to begin with, so he can do whatever he wants, right? Unfortunately, that logic is flawed. It's Oliver's lyrics.
Every song has 2 components, the composition and the sound recording, which is also known as the master. The composition consists of lyrics and melody. The sound recording is everything else: beat, percussion, bass, guitar, vocals, etc. Southstar changed every single component of Oliver's Jerk sound recording. New beat, new rhythm, new melody, new instruments. He even got someone to re-record Oliver's vocals. He completely transformed the song, therefore it is Southstar's song. There is no debate. Sample, remix, interpolation, whatever you want to call it, it's all basically the same thing. Artists taking a piece of someone's song and using it in a new way should not automatically grant the original artist full ownership. Remember when Juice WRLD had to give up like 90% of his record to Sting? We all agreed that was ridiculous, and Sting did not deserve that. This is kind of like that situation. And also, Oliver wouldn't have ever even considered making a dance version of that track if it weren't for Southstar. And in light of all of this controversy, Miss You is on its way to being Oliver's biggest song ever, which got my conspiracy brain working a little bit. I mentioned 2 other instances where Oliver leaned into the whole stolen song marketing strategy. I also found it interesting that Robin Schultz and Southstar are both German EDM producer/DJs. Also, remember when I said that German rapper Young Hearn was the one who posted this song on his Instagram? How did he even find it if Southstar was a nobody? Is it possible that from the very beginning, Southstar worked for Robin, maybe as an assistant producer, or even a ghost producer? They made this remix of Oliver's record and sent it to him. Oliver came up with the stolen song marketing strategy. They had Young Hearn post it for promotion, then planned all the controversy from the beginning. Also, remember that Oliver owns all the publishing for both songs, so he's getting his bag no matter what version you decide to listen to.
Now shout out to Pat CC, the GOAT, for that breakdown. And if you really think about it, and after everything we reviewed in terms of Oliver's come up, how he leverages social media, virality, controversy to further funnel the internet into becoming an audience for his music, it makes complete sense that he actually teamed up with that underground producer to create this whole controversy that this underground artist remixed Oliver's old song, and then the label quickly made Oliver and this bigger DJ Robin Schultz recreate the song and steal his whole tempo. Whatever the case is, that launched the song into another stratosphere. At this current moment, the song is almost at 700 million plays on Spotify. It's one of the biggest hits of the 2020s decade and cemented Oliver into global superstardom. This led Oliver to explore the world, touring all his music, but also exploring new career paths. He teased retirement once again, stating he's a storyteller and music just isn't enough to produce the stories he wants to tell. He teased the idea of becoming a filmmaker, and even thought of going into wrestling, becoming a model, and getting back into belly dancing. Yes, he claims he was a belly dancer in a previous life. But even with that, Oliver would still continue to release tons of projects throughout the 2020s decade, all encompassing different genres, looks, personas. He even made a country album in 2022 and started beefing with Lil Nas X over it. The final project that we received from Oliver came in April of 2026, called Love You Madly, Hate You Badly. And, of course, it didn't come without its fair share of controversy.
I just got word that my album is no longer coming out. Love You Madly, Hate You Badly is officially canceled, and I'm parting ways with Atlantic Records. Behind the scenes has been nothing short of a nightmare. I have no marketing budgets for music videos, no digital ad spend. Nobody really cares in the building, it seems like. I made a lot of money for Atlantic Records, and they don't seem to remember that. I have gotten no support. They forgot to ingest multiple songs into the system, which means the songs didn't come out. I had a Valentine's Day breakout song that didn't even get released because someone forgot to put it in. I don't really understand how that's possible. I've made them tens of millions of dollars, but they don't remember that. So, the music is owned by them. The remainder of the music will not be coming out. I will always continue to make music. Thank you for everyone who's supported me. I can't wait to release more music at some point at a later time, but for now, there is nothing on the horizon. I'm so sorry, and I love you guys.
This was a video Oliver put out right before the album released. After seeing everything we reviewed in this video, you might think this was another publicity stunt by Oliver to rally up the internet in support of him while he fights off his record label. However, the tone of this video was a lot different. Oliver's look was stripped back. No crazy colors, no crazy hijinks. It was almost like he was sending a warning to his fans that the label had put the brakes on funding everything about Oliver Tree. And that would be apparent by the numbers. The project performed very poorly compared to his previous work, failing to generate any success on the Billboard charts from the singles to the album itself. There's not even a report on how many copies the album has sold, which usually happens when an album has sold a very low number of copies. But even with that, Oliver still enjoyed a massive amount of success. Take a look at some of the final social media posts, live performances, and interviews that Oliver did right before he lost his life. He was actually planning an Australian tour in the fall and had recently been touring in Brazil. And with the success of his career, Oliver had even planned to set up his will to where when he passes away, all the money that his music generates would be given to a fund under his name that supports up-and-coming artists.
Neymar! 244, bro! Yeah! Brasil campeão! I'm not searching for a picture. Here we go, there we go.
And so when I die, I've set it up, my will is set up that when I pass, my family, no one's gonna get a penny. If I have a wife or kids or anything, not getting a penny. I'll get my kids through college. That's the agreement, but they're not gonna be a silver spoon. They're taken care of because my dad worked on some stuff in the 2000s. When I die, all the money's gonna go back to artists. So I've set up a foundation. It's called Dr. Oliver Tree's Art Grants for Baby Geniuses. And it's set up so that basically the interest generated from my music will take mostly that, but there's also room for other money because when I die, my art will continue to have residuals and probably be worth more than it is now. People will finally appreciate my stupid videos and my stupid songs. That's when people appreciate you when you're not there anymore. Anyways, they might not. It doesn't even make a difference. But historically speaking, artists' worth go up after they die. So the art will continue to make money no matter what.
Now, sadly, at just 32 years old, Oliver Tree would end up losing his life. CNN Brazil reports that while Oliver was in Brazil, he would take a helicopter ride. And while he was in that helicopter, it would collide with another helicopter on the morning of Sunday, June 14th, 2026, and would take the life of all 6 people that were on board. Rio de Janeiro's military fire department said that one of the helicopters crashed on the parking lot of a car dealership where several electric vehicles were parked, igniting a fire that was extinguished. I'm going to play some footage of the aftermath of this crash. So just a trigger warning, you're going to see some very intense imagery in the following clip. Feel free to skip 2 or 3 minutes ahead if you want to avoid that. And as well, you'll also see interview clips with some locals in Rio de Janeiro. And of course, they're speaking Portuguese. So the English captions will be placed below to translate what they were saying on what they witnessed throughout the situation.
Cara.
Infelizmente, foram encontradas 5 vítimas sem vida na primeira aeronave, que estava em chamas, e uma vítima sem vida na segunda aeronave, que não estava em chamas. Então, um total de 6 óbitos no local. Na primeira aeronave, que estava em chamas, existiam muitos veículos elétricos que estavam também incendiando junto com a aeronave. Então é um incêndio complicado de se combater, são baterias de íons de lítio, um incêndio que produz muita energia.
Foi um barulho assim, tum, aí depois foi outro estrondo bem alto e foi aí que a gente saiu para poder ver o que era e quando a gente viu, eram uns destroços voando, porta, e a gente, o meu namorado achou que fosse um carro, eu falei, não, isso não é um carro, era porta de helicóptero, e aqui perto tem um heliponto ali, e aí eu falei, Juan, isso foi um helicóptero, só que eu não sabia que tinha sido uma colisão. E aí a gente viu bem rapidamente um fogaréu e aí ligamos pro bombeiro, o pessoal do condomínio, né?
Now, what in a way is kind of beautiful but also incredibly sad to think about is that Oliver passed away doing something he loved. His creation was his life, and he lived it with the goal of outdoing every old stunt, music video, creative vision with his next move. His imagination was immense. In high school, he dreamt of shooting music videos where he's riding monster trucks. Less than a decade later, he manifested that into reality. He leveraged his comedic value to rally up 1 million followers on Instagram, directly involving his fans in a challenge to get his debut album released. And after racking up billions of streams, he never compromised his artistic vision. In fact, even when his music was generating dozens of millions of dollars, he took pay cuts in order to keep himself on the major record labels so that they could continue funding his $1 million music video visions. And even though at the end of the day, he may have only taken home $80,000 a year because he was never willing to sacrifice his larger-than-life artistic vision, he had decided before he passed away that all the money that his music generates, all his own personal profit, would end up going to a fund that he started to support up-and-coming artists like himself. So with that, I want to leave you guys with a very powerful message that Oliver recently published to his fans on social media, where he emphasizes the power and importance of loving yourself and believing in yourself. And with that, rest in peace to Oliver Tree.
remind you guys that that is not the only option. Being ugly is not that bad. And as a guy who's incredibly ugly, roughly a 2.2, 2.3, life is really epic being ugly. And no matter how strange you think you look, no matter how ugly you feel, you're actually incredibly beautiful. You are actually perfect as you are. There's always gonna be one more thing you want to change. Oh my God, I'm getting older, I'm getting wrinkles. Who cares? That's building character. That's what makes me me. That's the part of myself that adds value because I am one of a kind. I don't look like everybody else. That is beautiful. Just learning to love yourself is the job. It's in here. This is all a facade. This all fades. And when you're doing these things to try to impress other people that you don't even care about, why? What reason?
A lot of people need to hear this message.
You are beautiful. You are amazing. Learn how to love yourself. Learn how to embrace the imperfections. That's you. You don't need to change you for other people that you don't even like. You're dope. You're beautiful. You're perfect. Someone needs to tell you. And it's going to be this ugly guy. Guess what? Power in numbers. We are an ugly army. We're ugly maxing. Who needs all this other stuff? You are you. That is more than enough. You are perfect. Don't listen to anybody else. You're enough.